Ladies and gentlemen, gather your espresso, straighten your silk scarf, and prepare to meet the tiny Italian car that thought it was a movie star. Today we're diving into the deliciously stylish world of the Autobianchi Bianchina Transformabile, a car so charming it made even parking in Milan feel like a red carpet moment. If the Fiat 500 was the everyman scooter with a roof, the Bianchina was the cheeky boutique coupe that winked at you from across the piazza. Before we start the ignition and set off down memory lane, careful, it's cobblestone, a heartfelt thank you to the wonderful supporters of this channel. Thanks to your generosity, we've kept the lights on, the oil clean, and the jokes mildly inappropriate. You're the reason we can spend our days researching microcars instead of arguing with strangers on forums about carburetor jets. So let's rewind the reel to 1957. Italy was buzzing with post-war optimism. The economy was on fire, in a good way, and people were finally able to afford cars that didn't look like they were built from leftover warplane parts. That's when Autobianchi, a three-way venture between Fiat, Bianchi, yes, the bicycle folks, and tire maker Pirelli, rolled out a tiny, glamorous answer to the utilitarian Fiat 500. They named it the Bianchina, tipping their stylish little hat to Edoardo Bianchi's original car from 1899. The first version, the Transformabile, was unveiled on September 16, 1957 at Milan's Museum of Science and Technology. It featured a fixed roof frame with a folding canvas top and rear hinged doors, sort of like a tuxedo with a sunroof. This was not your average city car. It was pitched as a piccola fuoriserie di serie, or a small production-built custom car, a micro-sized luxury for Italy's emerging middle class. Styled by Fabio Luigi Rapi under Fiat's Special Bodies orbit and built on Dante Giacosa's Fiat 500 mechanical package, the Bianchina was a statement. With two-tone paint, mini tail fins, and a generous helping of chrome, it flirted with American flash while staying unapologetically Italian. It cost about 595,000 lire, 15% more than a Fiat 500, but hey, they offered 30-month payment plans and people were lining up anyway. In 1957-1959 alone, over 24,000 Transformables found eager buyers. For a moment, this car was so successful it made Fiat executives break out in cold sweats. And that's when things got spicy. Fiat, the major stakeholder in Autobianchi, started playing dirty. When the more powerful Fiat 500D engine came out, Autobianchi's supply mysteriously got delayed. Updates were withheld, production slowed. It's like being in a band and watching your label promote your backup singer. Production fell from 10,000 units in 1959 to 1960 to just 7,000 in 1961 to 1962. Finally, in mid-1962, the Transformabile took its final bow, replaced by the more practical but less charming Bianchina Berlina. In total, about 36,000 Bianchina Transformabiles were built. Not a huge number, which is why today collectors swoon over them like vintage wine. Though nobody knows exactly how many survive, let's just say if you spot one on the street, it's more rare than a politician answering a question directly. Underneath that flirtatious sheet metal, the Bianchina was all Fiat 500 at heart. That meant a rear-mounted, air-cooled two-cylinder engine, a 479cc OHE twin putting out about 15 PS initially. In 1959, the output nudged up to 16.5 PS, and by 1961, the engine grew to 499cc with 17.5 PS. The hottest ticket, though, was the Transformable Special, featuring the Fiat 500 Sport engine with 21 PS and a hotter cam, upgraded valve springs, and carburation. That one could hit 105 kilometers per hour, 65 miles per hour, as long as you had a tailwind and no luggage. Power was sent to the rear wheels via a 4-speed manual gearbox, entirely unsynchronized. That meant double clutching was required, or as many drivers described it, a symphony of grinding. Gearing was short, which gave it zippy acceleration in city traffic, but little appetite for highways. Though, to be fair, Italy's highways weren't exactly built for microcars with picnic basket-sized engines. The running gear was pure 500. Up front, upper links with a transverse leaf acting as the lower arm. At the back, independent trailing arms with coil springs. All four wheels had hydraulic drum brakes, which were adequate given the car's weight, just 510 kilograms, 1,124 pounds. You could almost tow it with a firm handshake. The wheelbase was a tiny 1.84 meters, 72.4 inches, and overall length was 2.99 meters, 7.5 inches. Width? Just 1.34 meters, 52.8 inches. That's barely wider than a church pew. The Transformabiles seated too comfortably, with a shelf in the back for storing friends or baguettes, optional. Thanks to the steel monocoque structure and roof reinforcements, it was a bit heavier than the Fiat 500, but still nimble and city-proof. Now, let's talk flair. The Transformabile had suicide doors, rear-hinged, a panoramic folding soft top, and trim so rich you'd think it came with a necktie. Inside, you got two-tone vinyl, a two-spoke wheel with a bright horn button, and delicate nose jewelry with an Autobianchi badge, with the usual sun visors and rear-view mirror. The Bianchina Transformable wasn't just transportation, it was wearable art. Luigi Rapi's design oozed optimism, from its chrome lashes to its tailfin winks. It borrowed from the big American dreamboats of the 1950s, but miniaturized them into something you could park sideways in Rome. The folding canvas roof wasn't a full convertible, but rather a massive sunroof that retracted nearly to the rear deck. Perfect for Sunday drives and dramatic entrances. That, combined with its rear-hinged doors, created a silhouette unlike anything else on the street. Compared to its Fiat 500 cousin, the Bianchina had sass. It was born of the same mechanical DNA, but styled like it had just walked out of a Fellini movie. While Fiat was trying to mobilize the masses, Autobianchi aimed squarely at the fashionable classes. In other words, Fiat made cars, Autobianchi made conversation pieces. The Autobianchi Bianchina Transformabile was a triumph of style over scale. It proved that you didn't need a V8 or acres of sheet metal to turn heads. You just needed good lines, a little chrome, and the courage to be different. It brought joy to thousands, annoyance to Fiat executives, and eventually comic immortality to Italian cinema. So what did this boutique buzzbox cost? In 1957, the Transformabile's list price was 595,000 Italian lire, about $950 back then, or roughly $10,000 in today's currency. Today, a decent example might fetch $20,000 to $40,000. But a pristine Concours-level special with the 21-horsepower engine? That can rocket north of $80,000, as seen in a 2022 auction where one sold for $89,600. Average prices today hover about $17,000, making it one of the most collectible microcars of the jet age. And now, dear viewers, if you've made it this far, may your own life be as stylish and resilient as a Bianchina in rush hour Rome. May you always find parking, your canvas roof stay dry, and your vanity mirror reflect nothing but joy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel. Arrivederci, and keep your wheels small, but your dreams molto grande.